Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where today's focus is going to be the Cassian Andor show and the latest rumor that George Lucas is returning to helm the project. I'm going to give you the full story. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee.
I have spoken.
Hello there to all of the returning subscribers, but if you're new to the channel and you're just finding me for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video and any other video from the channel that you check out, and be sure to hit that notification bell so that the bell is completely filled in, as this is the way you will never miss a new video the second it goes live.
Do it!
George Lucas cannot escape Star Wars, as he's obviously the creator of Star Wars, but even in the Disney era, George Lucas has the inability to escape Star Wars for any amount of time. If you'll recall, just short months ago, which seems like an eternity at this point since The Rise of Skywalker has been out for 2 months at this point, it seems like eons ago, but there were rumors swirling around that George Lucas had his own cut of the film, which I now believe to be false. At the time, I was actually semi-interested in this, but the more and more we hear about George Lucas in terms of Star Wars news relations, it seems that it's just internet content that people are trying to spur to get hits on sites. And we're going to take a look at this example from Illuminerdi, which claims that George Lucas returning to Star Wars as executive producer on Cassian Andor series, exclusive, written by Brandon Zachary. So we're going to take a look at this article, and then we will go ahead and debunk it. But we're going to take a look at the claims, because I'm sure everybody's going to be talking about this on all of the sci-fi, fantasy, comic book type of world, and all of those communities are going to be talking about this, so I'm going to give you guys the full scoop. So let's take a look at this article. It says, quote, "While the Illuminerdi has already hinted at the most explosive news about the upcoming Cassian Andor series for Disney+, we can now openly confirm that George Lucas is returning to the Star Wars universe as a writer and executive producer. But what does this mean for the future of the franchise? The upcoming Cassian Andor series will explore the origins of Cassian, Diego Luna, before the events of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It will track his earlier adventures through the galaxy as a spy for the glowing Rebel Alliance. The Illuminerdi has already reported that Diego Luna is set to return to the title role and will be joined by 2 other series regulars. K2SO, as played by Alan Tudyk, as well as the mysterious Luna, who has not yet been cast. But the bigger news about the series might be who's working behind the camera. Our sources have confirmed that none other than George Lucas is set to join the project, as both writer and executive producer. This is a major development for Lucas, who hasn't been directly involved in the Star Wars universe for years. This will also be his first time as a writer for the franchise since the release of Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith. Also working on the series will be Tony Gilroy, who wrote the screenplay for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and helped introduce Cassian and K2SO to the franchise in the first place. He was crucial to the rewrite process alongside director Gareth Edwards. This part of the news that was first reported by Geek Tyrant, who also noted Lucas's writing credit. Lucas has largely stepped back from the franchise he created, following the mixed reception of the prequel trilogy, which Lucas both wrote and directed. The franchise incorporated more outside voices into other media like comics, video games, and television. In 2012, Lucas ended up selling the Star Wars brand to Disney for a whopping $4.05 billion. Disney quickly went to work to fully incorporating Star Wars as a part of its brand. It was a decision that ultimately paid off 6 years later. This leads to a number of new series, including The Mandalorian and the upcoming Cassian Andor series. It also resulted in the sequel trilogy, which just concluded this past year with Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker. Lucas provided an outline for his idea for the film and has been executive producer in certain entries in the franchise. However, Cassian Andor will be the first time in over a decade where Lucas has contributed his own writing to the franchise. It's interesting that this character is the one that appeals to him over Obi-Wan or The Mandalorian. Perhaps it'll give Lucas a chance to return to the more gritty aspects of the franchise after flashier elements of the prequel films. The fact that he's also executive producer series implies that all of the Star Wars projects that are in the works at Disney, the one that appeals the most to Lucas is Cassian. Cassian isn't one of the characters that was created by Lucas, so perhaps he's interested in playing around with a character he's never used before. The Illuminerdi will keep their ears to the ground for any other updates to the series, especially now that George is taking an active role in the franchise. Okay, so this is obviously complete bunk, and before I get into the reasons why it's obviously bunk based on the read, Clayton Sandel a ABC correspondent who's also a big Star Wars enthusiast, blue check mark on Twitter, said, fact check. No, George Lucas is not returning to write, produce, and direct the Cassian Andor series for Disney+. Yes, I'm embarrassed to say I checked into it and bothered actual sources. This has been Friday's edition of Debunking Ridiculous Star Wars Clickbait Rumors. As you were, obviously this is the case. So obviously the way that they I can't believe the guy who wrote this honestly thought that this was true, especially considering that Cassian isn't even a character George Lucas came up with. If George Lucas was ever allowed, first of all allowed, if Kathleen Kennedy ever allowed him to actually write something in Star Wars, he would obviously have to be working with someone else, because we all know, and George has even admitted as much, that he can't write dialogue. And we already knew that. We already knew he can't write dialogue, because he's openly admitted it. He's not a great writer for the dialogue. And so the idea that he would want to work with a character he's never even created is just absolute lunacy. And if he was going to be working on any Disney Plus character, as I said, if Kathleen Kennedy even let him near it, would be the Kenobi series, because he obviously created the character of Obi-Wan, and this is in between both of the eras of Star Wars that he created in the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, where he wrote all of the lines for both of these trilogies. So why wouldn't he want to completely involve himself and finish fleshing out the story for Obi-Wan in a way that he seems fitting for the way he spent his time on Tatooine while Luke was growing up? It just literally makes no sense, and I just can't believe that I'm seriously at a loss for words for even having to tell you that this was even a rumor in the first place. So I'm just going to stop there, because I would just babble incoherently about how I can't believe anybody would actually believe this. So again, let's read that tweet one more time from Clayton Sandall, and then we'll send off. Fact check. No, George Lucas is not returning to write, produce, or direct the Cassian Andor series for Disney+. Yes, I'm embarrassed to say I checked into it and bothered actual sources. This has been Friday's edition of Debunking Ridiculous Star Wars Clickbait Rumors. As you were. Alright, that wraps things up for me here in this video. Let me know what you guys think about this ridiculous rumor in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. May God bless you and the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe.
Do it.
And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.